Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's an assumption about women that most men get wrong? That all women are the same. Women want, how about you talk to the woman you're actually trying to pursue? I know exactly what a woman wants. It's pockets. Whoa whoa whoa, this would mean I would have to treat a woman like a human with thoughts and feelings of their own. That can't be right. He treat objects like women, man. Threaten's manosphere equivalent of a fedora, aha, but you wouldn't ask a fish how to catch fish, would you? Well, no, I wouldn't, because fish generally have a vested interest in avoiding being caught. Being caught is a very bad thing for the fish. People, on the other hand, usually prefer their partner to be someone who actually enjoys being around them, not someone they had to trick into grudgingly putting up with them. Also, if some fish were invested in humans catching other fish, you know, like how some men have female friends who are willing to help them get dates. I might listen to the fish over the fisherman who never catches anything. Just saying, I wouldn't ask a fish thing already kind of assumes women are trying to get away from you, which is not a good look for you. That they are almost a completely different species. Men and women are more alike than any side like to admit. We fart in bed and everything, have dreams and opinions and digestive systems and everything. What are the odds? Question mark. I'm a man, but I was raised in a house of women, no men at all, so I've spent all my life around women and that's the number one thing I see. Like when people talk about asking women out or women doing X, Y, Z and I'm like, well, have you considered treating women like human beings and not like some fantasy fairy creature with unknown powers? What kind of powers we talking here? That just because they're friendly it doesn't mean they want to bear your child. Is she flirting with you, or is she just hot and speaking? Quote. Or is she just providing customer service? Not every barista wants to fuck you. Constantly nervous about being too friendly and nice to men because I've been burnt too many times by guys who get the wrong message. Of course, that only exacerbates the issue unfortunately. The amount of guys who ask for my number just because I was a cashier doing my job and being friendly. A service worker smiling at you isn't flirting. They're just doing the job. So many guys just don't seem to comprehend this. But I'm the bitch tease because I said no. That taking birth control is always a safe option for women. It's not. Birth control can have serious effects on our hormones. It can cause blood clots. IUDs are painful to get put in and removed. Pills can lead to hormone withdrawals, causing major migraines and uncontrollable mood fluctuations. There is a danger to birth control. I have a friend who had a stroke at 36 because of hormonal birth control. Definitely not the answer for everyone. I experienced migraines for 5 to 6 years, and I found out it was because of my birth control pills. I stopped taking them, and I haven't had a full-blown migraine since. Apparently, migraine with aura indicates an increased risk of stroke on birth control. And even if birth control does work without side effects, you still have to remember to take a pill at the exact same time every day. And if you forget and miss a day, it can lead to withdrawal bleeding, and possible pregnancy OFC. It basically puts all of responsibility on the woman to prevent pregnancy. That dating is entertainment. It's not. It's a lot of work. And men aren't competing with other men. They're competing with the sense of peace and freedom women have when they're not in a relationship. Unless you bring that peace, comfort and freedom to the table, she won't stay. Doesn't matter how good the sex is. Edit wow, just wow. I gave a really simple answer on a very nuanced topic. And it 100% goes both ways. One person's freedom is another person's jail. I think most people just want peace, connection and kindness in their lives, however that looks for them. And honestly, I hope everyone finds it for themselves. The world could use some more joy and peace these days. Along with this, men think being an old lonely childless cat lady is the worst possible thing that could happen to a woman, and love to use it as an insult. The thing is, most women are not actually insulted by this, because it's not an insult to us. The peace and free actually sounds pretty awesome. In reality, that phrase really only makes the accuser look bad. The accusation is that women should lower their standards, or else. But here's the deal, we looked at everything you bring to the table, your personality, your values, and how you treat us, and we compare that to being alone forever with the cat, and we are mindfully choosing to shift shit nuggets out of a sandbox for the rest of our lives than to be with you. All you had to be was more appealing and less trouble than cat shit, and you couldn't. You lost to cat turds. We don't need to lower our standards, you need to be less chaotic than turd nuggets. My ex, you seem to like your cat more than you like me. Me, yeah, the cat's never called me a whore during an argument. Weird that I like him better, huh? Oh my god, this is what I say too. I used to know a guy who'd gloat to single women, you turned down every guy and now, you're alone on Valentine's Day. And I'd go, you mean she chose loneliness over you? She chose nothing over you. She saw all you had to offer and chose to be by herself. Not even free food or flowers made her choose you. Goodness, the irony was usually lost on him though. They underestimate how many women experience pain during penetrative sex. The majority of women have reported at least occasional pain during sex, and a not insignificant percentage, studies vary on exact number, regularly experience discomfort. Yeah, I had vaginismus for no goddamn reason, and I was insanely lucky to be able to see a psychosexual therapist about it. Penetration can still be painful initially, but thankfully it goes away after a moment or two, and I'm glad to say I can now enjoy sex. Vaginismus sounds icky, but it's just the name for when your vaginal muscles tense up before, during penetration. Like, because your brain anticipates pain, your vagina tenses up, and as a result, there's obviously pain. Fun times. Oh yes, I'm so jealous that the male sexual experience is pain-free. Feeling pain during sex is a freakishly rare occurrence for them, whereas there are articles upon articles talking about how to determine which one of 10 different reasons sex might hurt for a woman. I'm also tired of sex making me ill. Sad face, why do I have to worry about UTIs? I am someone that is extremely susceptible to getting UTIs. It really made me dread being intimate with my partner because of the fear of getting one. I used to get them 1 to 2 times a year, but they started happening every 3 months and it was awful. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing to prevent them, but still had issues. I finally went to a urologist and she told me about D-mannose. It's a simple sugar pill that can help prevent UTIs by stopping bacteria from sticking to bladder walls. I started taking them and have been blown away by it. I haven't had a UTI since, been a year now, and all the discomfort and irritation I used to have with my bladder has disappeared. I have been so grateful for these little magic pills. Highly recommend. Yep, when it comes to sex, I definitely feel like we get the short end of the stick. I'll see myself out. That we're hairless. Most, if not all, of us have hair. Everywhere. Yes, hairy women exist. We're not dirty, or single, or insane. We're literally humans. I don't understand how men pick on women for having peach fuzz, hair on their backs, hair on their buttocks, etc. Some men think women come as they're shown in porn. Yeah, I had an ex fully try to convince me that he had zero control over his skid marks on his underwear because men grow hair back there and that makes being clean difficult. I told him I was able to keep clean when I had hair there. He told me I was making that up because women didn't grow hair back there unless they had a hormone problem. Boy was he shocked when I told him most every woman had some degree of hair back there. A lot of women just remove it. Also, if some of these men complain about body hair on women for hygiene reasons, they shouldn't so willingly admit that they can't clean their assholes. If that was the issue, all clean men would shave their whole bodies. Men will pick on women for having some leg or chin hair and will literally be shitting through a wicker basket of ass hair daily lol. I'm crying at wicker basket of ass hair OMG. That expressing strong emotions means we're now incapable of rational thought and should therefore be ignored. Yes, I'm crying. I'm crying because I'm upset, but I'll still be able to set out for you the how, when, why, and what I'd appreciate moving forward. With some men, it's like they see tears and there's a loud, authoritative voice that booms in their heads, she's emotional. Nothing she says makes sense from this moment on. On the flip side, if we force down our feelings to speak calmly, those same men will also hear a voice saying, well, she doesn't look all that bothered, so this probably doesn't matter much. Quote, this is actually the most frustrating thing ever, and it happens way too often. Also, I find that with lots of these types of men, they don't treat their emotional outbursts in the same way. They don't count their obvious anger or passive aggressiveness as being emotional, yet if you cry, show emotion, then you must be too emotional and therefore incapable of logical thought. I think people who think of themselves as coldly rational often only think that because they're bad at recognizing when they're having an emotional reaction. It's pretty easy to have a knee-jerk reaction and then retrospectively come up with some logical justification for it. Men who say women are too emotional also love to pretend that anger, the one channel all of their stunted repressed emotions are allowed to go through, isn't an emotion. See, men feel anger, so obviously it's not one of those irrational emotions like ladies have. Sincerely. The most irrationally emotional people in my life have across the board been PlayStation controller hucking angry man babies. You literally can't talk to them when they're like that. I've seen how it escalates all too often. But God forbid you cry in front of them. And if you have a more atypical reaction for a woman, like anger instead of crying, you're viewed as a psycho bitch. Sometimes it feels like there's no winning as a woman. IDK about most, but I've seen lots of dudes assume women hate men and think different characteristics make men subhuman. Edit, I'm reflecting on the responses to this and I'm blown away by how many men think women hate them. Fellas, this is your problem, this mindset. I see so many posts about women are disgusted and repulsed by my ugliness, baldness, pimples, height, weight, autism, disability, etc. I have never looked at anyone and felt disgusted or repulsed, unless they did something disgusting, like if they were kicking kittens, pooping on the sidewalk, were a known rapist. Otherwise people are just people and I view them with the same consideration and regard as I would any other stranger. Their level of attractiveness isn't important at all unless I'm actively deciding who to date. Also the phrase, subhuman, has never entered my mind. Frankly it seems like a very evil and Nazi sort of word. I think they mean, won't date. Because for a lot of guys, especially ones who ain't seeing much action, for a woman to be, wouldn't date, material, they have to be disgusting, repulsive. If they don't actively disgust or repel the guy, that's good enough. Sometimes, even if they do, that's just the bitter pill you gotta take. The mistake these guys are making is generalizing their standards and assuming that they're being judged by the same grade boundaries. Getting with a guy is often a pass, fail, easy credit, bullshit course elective with a stoner teacher who doesn't even take attendance and desperately needs to show their superiors that students are passing, that you have to actively sabotage to fail. If that's how you think women are grading you and you're failing pretty consistently, that's gotta feel pretty rough. In a lot of ways men value things based on how other men value them, so do women. Can't tell you how many times I've had men try and tell me my height makes me undateable, 5 feet 6 inches BTW. Never had a woman do that. Edit, there's a difference between, you need to be 6 feet to date me, and people saying, you're too short to date. I've never heard the latter come out of a woman's mouth, but I've heard it from plenty of men, even towards themselves. Closing parenthesis. Totally agree. I'm 5 feet 7 and only ever had my height mentioned by other dudes. I'm sure women have found me unattractive or didn't want to date me at least in part because of my height, but never once been shamed or insulted for it by a woman. I'm a 5 feet 8 inches woman and don't care about height. I've dated several guys shorter than me. The real turn-off is men who are so insecure about their height that it shapes their personality and the way they treat potential partners. I love short men, but I hate short man syndrome.